Hello and welcome. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran and this is The Breakfast Show. A very happy new year to all our viewers in India and around the world. Hope the year turns out to be the best year yet for you. Alright, over the next 1 hour, I'll get you all the latest news from India and around the world. But first, as always, the headlines. A cheerful welcome to New Year 2020 all over the world. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi extend New Year greetings to fellow citizens. A New Year gift to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. SMS services on all mobile phones restored from midnight. Internet connectivity restored at government hospitals. The country's first ever Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, to take charge today. General Manoj Mukund Narawane takes over as the new Army Chief. Train tickets to become costly from today as Indian Railways hiked the base price. No excess fare will be charged from passengers who have booked tickets before the 1st of January 2020. The Union Health Minister writes to the Chief Minister of Rajasthan on children's death at a hospital in Kota, asks the state government to assess the situation and take proactive measures, offers assistance. In international news, US President Donald Trump warns Iran after the attack on the US embassy in Iraq. In a tweet, Trump says Iran will pay a very heavy price for its actions. All right, let's begin the breakfast show this morning with the New Year celebrations in India and around the world. So the second decade of the 21st century has bid adieu. The world celebrated the arrival of 2020. Now, India welcomed the new year with great vigor. People in New Delhi braved the cold and stepped out to celebrate on New Year's Eve in Connaught Place. And New Year was welcomed with grand celebrations in different parts of Mumbai as well. And in Kolkata, streets were lit up colourfully to welcome the New Year. Meanwhile, people of Thiruvananthapuram celebrated the New Year with different cultural programs. And army personnel at Jaisalmer welcomed the New Year with much enthusiasm. And major New Year celebrations kicked off around the world as a new day dawned in Asia and Oceania. Auckland in New Zealand was one of the first major cities to count down to midnight, 18 hours ahead of the ball drop in New York City's Times Square. Fireworks were seen exploding from Auckland's Waitemata Harbour and Sky Tower. In Australia, New Year's Eve fireworks erupted over Sydney's iconic Harbour Bridge and Opera House. In Asia, pro-democracy supporters waved flags and shouted slogans during a countdown party in the Tsim Sha Tsui district of Hong Kong. Thousands of revelers welcomed 2020 at neon-lit promenades along the picturesque Victoria Harbour. And Russia welcomed 2020 with a fireworks display over Moscow's Red Square. Earlier, President Vladimir Putin, in a televised message, urged fellow citizens to work together in the coming year. And fireworks exploded over the Burj Khalifa in Dubai as the United Arab Emirates rang in 2020. A dazzling fireworks display with rising fountains and music was organized as people looked on, cheering and clapping from the streets below. And Thailand welcomed 2020 with a spectacular fireworks display over the Chao Phraya River in Hong Kong. The fireworks represented 7 wonders of blessings. These were glory, sustainability, prosperity, joy to the world, diamond in the sky, lucky star, and the power of love. In Japan, tens of thousands of people gathered at Tokyo's iconic Shibuya crossing to celebrate the New Year. And staying in the Indo-Pacific region, China welcomed the New Year with singing, dancing and a light show at Shugang Industrial Park, one of the venues for the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics. During the celebrations, mascots from the 2022 Winter Olympics Games joined these performers. And Taiwan's tallest skyscraper, the Taipei 101 Tower, rang in the New Year with its annual fireworks display. Thousands of people gathered on the streets near the building, which is among the world's 10 tallest buildings. And in India, President Ramnath Kovind on Tuesday asked people to commit themselves to making a peaceful, caring and compassionate society. His message to fellow citizens on the eve of the New Year, he said, and I quote here, "The dawn of New Year and the new decade is an occasion to commit ourselves to making of a society that is peaceful, caring and compassionate. This is also an attempt, an apt occasion to renew our commitment towards a stronger and more prosperous India." Unquote. On New Year's Eve, the President extended greetings and best wishes to all fellow citizens and the global community, saying that may the New Year bring joy and prosperity in your lives. And Vice President Venkaiah Naidu wished the nation on New Year's Eve. In a message, he said that on this New Year, let's resolve to be kinder, more compassionate and considerate human beings. He said, and I quote, "I convey my warm greetings and best wishes to all our citizens on the advent of the New Year 2020. The New Year is a time for new beginnings. It's a time to set new goals in life and make new resolutions. It's a time to be thankful, a time to rejoice and a time to be hopeful. On this New Year, let's resolve to be kinder, more compassionate and considerate human beings. Let's pledge to do our best to realize our true potential as individuals first and then collectively as a nation. Let's rededicate ourselves to the eternal values of peace, love and brotherhood and work together to build a just, equal, prosperous and inclusive world. On this joyful occasion, let's pray for the happiness, well-being and prosperity of the entire world." Unquote. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared a video which covered a lot of the progress India achieved in 2019. Take a look at this video.
उन्नीस था साहस की कहानी,
वे बहुत बड़ी गलती कर चुके।
जब पड़े थे हम शत्रु पे भारी, हवा की रस्ते सरहद पार, वो बन के गए हनुमान, सबक सिखाकर लौटे वाले डॉक्यूमेंट्स में हिंदुस्तान। जोश उमंग मस्ती से देखो जा रहा 19, नए जोश के साथ देखो आ रहा है 20। में मचाता था 19 ने चुना फिर चौकीदार।
आपका ये चौकीदार पूरी तरह से चौकन्ना है।
19 ने बोझ घटाया, 19 ने हाथ बटाया। स्पेस में स्पेस बढ़ाई, इंडिया की पेस बढ़ाई, धारा झूठी हटाई, बापू की बर्थडे मनाई। समुंदर की करी सवारी, बेटी बनी कप्तान, विजयदशमी पर घर आया राफेल नाम का विमान। वाले रूप पर करके जा रहा 19, नए जोश के साथ देखो आ रहा है 20। देशभक्ति की मिसालें दे गया 19, करतारपुर साहिब के दर्शन दे गया 19, माता रानी के चरणों तक ले गया 19।
And responding to this video, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has sent a message to people on the New Year's Eve. He says, and I quote here, "Lovely compilation covers quite a lot of the progress we achieved in 2019. Here's hoping 2020 marks the continuation of people-powered efforts to transform India and empower the lives of 130 crore Indians." Unquote. And Prime Minister Modi has extended New Year greetings to the nation. In a tweet, he said, and I quote again, "Have a wonderful 2020. May this year be filled with joy and prosperity. May everyone be healthy and may everyone's aspirations be fulfilled." Unquote. And a New Year gift for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. SMS services on all mobile phones have been restored from midnight in Kashmir. And internet connectivity has also been restored at government hospitals across Jammu and Kashmir. Now, this was announced at a press conference by Jammu and Kashmir government spokesperson Rohit Kansal. The most services except mobile internet were restored in Jammu within a week. Kashmir saw landlines and postpaid services restored in phases. Right, now to the other big story we are tracking here on the Breakfast Show. General Bipin Rawat, who has been appointed India's first Chief of Defence Staff, will take charge of the newly created Department of Military Affairs today. The tri-service agencies, organizations and commands relating to cyber and space will come under the command of the CDS, will also function as the military advisor to the Nuclear Command Authority. The 62-year-old General Rawat will continue in the post for 3 years or until the age of 65, whichever is earlier. General Rawat debuted office as the Chief of Army Staff on Tuesday. He paid tribute to the martyrs and received a farewell guard of honor. And General Manoj Mukund Naravane on Tuesday took over the 28th Chief of Army Staff, hemming the 1.3 million strong force. The new Army Chief said that India reserves the right to preemptively strike at sources of terror threat if the neighbouring country does not stop state-sponsored terrorism. General Narawane said that the Pakistani Army's all-out efforts to deflect attention from state-sponsored terrorism has been a total failure and that the situation in Jammu and Kashmir has improved significantly after the abrogation of Article 370. Replying to a query on dealing with Pakistan-backed terrorism, General Narawane said that the multiple options across the spectrum of conflict are on the table to respond to any act of terror sponsored or abetted by Pakistan.
हमारे टैक्टिक्स, स्ट्रैटेजी, डॉक्ट्रिन्स इन सब पर हमारा लगातार विचार विमर्श होता रहता है और इस विचार विमर्श में जो आने वाले समय में नए खतरे पैदा हो सकते हैं उस पर हम गौर करते हैं और इसमें साइबर वॉरफेयर, स्पेस, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, रोबोटिक्स, अनमैन्ड प्लेटफॉर्म्स, इस सभी को हम लेकर फिर ही हम आगे जो खतरे या चुनौतियां आ सकते हैं इसके बारे में सोचते हैं और साथ साथ इन खतरों से कैसे निपटना है और हमारा मॉडर्नाइजेशन प्लान भी इसी को मद्देनजर रखता है.
General Narawane said that the neighbors' repeated denial of use of terrorism as state policy would not last long. In his 37 years of service, General Narawane served in numerous command and staff appointments in peace, field and highly active counter-insurgency environments in Jammu and Kashmir and the Northeast.
तकरीबन 4 दशक हो गए हैं यूनिफॉर्म पहने हुए जी, लेकिन लगता नहीं है कि ये 4 दशक है. लगता है कि हम कल ही कैडेट थे जी और आज सेना अध्यक्ष के पद पर हैं. ये पूरा सफ़र बहुत अच्छा रहा है, चैलेंजिंग रहा है. मैं यही कहूँगा कि आज की आर्मी और भी सक्षम है, और भी ताकतवर है और जो भी चुनौतियाँ आ सकती हैं उसके साथ निपटने के लिए हम तैयार हैं.
Right, moving on. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has unveiled infrastructure projects worth more than 100 lakh crore rupees by 2025. These include the Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail. 42.7 lakh crore rupees worth of projects are under implementation and 32.7 lakh crore rupees worth of projects are at the conceptualization stage. The projects are spread across 22 ministries and 18 states and union territories. 22% to 30% of the investments will be sourced from private sector and the balance shared between the central and state governments.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Tuesday unveiled 102 lakh crore rupees infrastructure projects that will be implemented in the next 5 years as part of the government's spending push in the infrastructure sector. These infrastructure projects aim to ensure ease of living in India along with ease of doing business.
For the 100 lakh crores, today we have a compilation of 102 lakh crores worth projects. In addition, a few more states are coming up with another 3 lakh crore worth of projects. So in all, I think we'll have about 105 lakh crore in total. And these projects spread across 22 ministries and 18 states and union territories.
The Finance Minister said that the projects identified are in sectors such as power, railways, urban irrigation, mobility, education and health. According to the sector-wise breakup of projects, rupees 24.54 lakh crore investment will flow in the energy sector. Another rupees 19.6 lakh crore have been lined up in road and nearly rupees 13.6 lakh crore for railway projects, while rupees 16.29 lakh crore would be spent on urban infrastructure. Rural infrastructure projects would account for rupees 7.72 lakh crore, while total social infrastructure including education, tourism and sports would account for rupees 3.56 lakh crore. The Finance Minister said that the central government and state governments would have an equal share of 39% each in the NIP. The private sector, on the other hand, would have 22% share.
NIP profile as it stands today consists of center 39% share, states 39% share, which is equal share, and private sector 22%. We expect that the private sector's share to increase to at least 30% by 2025. Private sector to increase to 30% by 2025.
She also said that the government has decided to host a global investor summit in 2020. The summit will provide an opportunity to each state to interact with investors. Notably, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been reviewing the progress of vital infrastructure projects through the multi-model platform Pragati, proactive governance and timely implementation. Ajay Mishra, DD News, Delhi.
And my colleague Ajay Mishra now joins me for more on this developing story. Ajay, a big development push, isn't it? 100 lakh crore worth of infrastructure projects by 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the target was 100 lakh crores, but yesterday the blueprint which was laid before the nation in the form of national infrastructure pipeline has laid the projects worth 102 lakh crores, and another 3 lakh crores are in the programming stage. So in few weeks we will have a total blueprint of 105 lakh crore rupees going forward here. The two major challenges, Ramesh, on the front of infrastructure were time overrun and cost overrun. And that's why this pipeline and this task force headed by the Economic Affairs Secretary Atanu Chakrabarti tried to comprehensively look all the reforms needed to give a big push to the infrastructure that will obviously lead to the GDP growth and generate employment in the days to come. But there are a few challenges also. The task force has clearly stated that states have to come on board to implement these infrastructure projects, because on ground the states have to implement these projects, and also the private sector has to come up, because there's a lot of cash lying with the private sector, lots of projects, but they are not coming up aggressively when it comes to investing in the infrastructure projects, because these investments are for the long term, and that's why they need some kind of assurance from the government and from the financial system to have a long term debt for these infrastructure projects. Another big challenge is from the state governments, because some of the states are not forthcoming for the infra projects. So we have just 18 states participating and actually giving the presentations and programs for their respective states. So that's number two. But this pipeline has actually tried to comprehensively look at all the issues sector wise, all the issues relating to what are the reforms needed to give a push, just like for example the contract, the implementation of contracts. The various contracts for the infrastructure projects are one key area where the government would like to push for more reforms. Another area is finance. How to raise the finance is going to be the core challenge. So be it the bond market, be it the corporate municipal bond market, be it the fundraising from the international market, these are going to be some of the challenges which the central government, state governments and the private sector will have to actually work on to actually implement all these infrastructure projects that we have just seen in the national blueprint.
And very quickly, Ajay, you've spoken about how only 18 states so far have come forward to take part of this assistance in giving a development push to these projects. The minister did mention the Ahmedabad-Mumbai high-speed rail. Any other project which was mentioned by the minister in a press conference?
I think power is going to be one of the major contributor to the whole infra push. Well, 24% of the whole investment is going to come within the power sector. 19% of the share will go to the road sector and 90% for the railways. So I pose a question that by 2030, railway is also planning 50 lakh crore of investment in their respective plans. So those projects has been made part of it. On the same line, Nal Se Jal, which is the water for all project, is also included under that. And very interestingly, the digital infrastructure, social infrastructure and physical infrastructure, all these infrastructure projects have comprehensively hold positions in this important blueprint, and this is, I believe, is the most comprehensive blueprint for the infrastructure push, which is going to contribute, or which is going to be the main driver of investment going ahead for the country as a whole.
All right, on that note, Ajay Mishra, thank you so much for that update. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
All right, moving on. Train tickets will become costly from today as Indian Railways has hiked the base price. In some relief for railway passengers, no excess fare will be charged from passengers who have booked tickets before the 1st of January 2020. The Indian Railways has called the fare hike as marginal, with the maximum increase being 4 paise per kilometre for the AC class of rail travel. In other news, the central government has asked the Rajasthan government to assess the situation and take proactive steps to avoid deaths of children. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan wrote to Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot after the death of children at the JK Lone Hospital of the Kota Medical College last night. Dr. Harshvardhan said that the central government is ready to provide any technical assistance to tackle preventable deaths. He said that the central government looks forward to the state government's continuous support and cooperation for improving child survival in the country. He also said that this will ensure that no child succumbs to preventable causes or due to lack of health system capacity. Right, the last date of submission of application forms for National Eligibility cum Entrance Test UG 2020 has been extended till 6th of January. The aspiring candidates who have not been able to apply on the online application form due to heavy rush on the website can apply till 6th January up to 11:50 p.m. Now, this is being done in view of a number of requests received in this regard. But the date of correction in particulars in the online application form will remain the same. That's from 15th January up to 11:50 p.m. on 31st January. Applicants from the Kashmir Valley, Leh and Kargil can submit the application form offline at the nodal centres fixed by National Testing Agency up to 6th January. The cold weather conditions continued in the northern parts of the country. However, there is little respite in the national capital as there is moderate fog in Delhi this morning. The Indian Met Department has predicted very light rain on Thursday. Now, yesterday, the sun shone bright and brought some respite, though icy winds swept the city, which saw a low of 4.8 degrees Celsius. Delhiites would get some relief from the frigid conditions, as the IMD said that there would be no cold wave in Delhi till 4th of January and temperatures will rise further. The maximum temperature setting at 14.7 degrees Celsius, still 5 points below the season's average. Meanwhile, the temperature in Kanpur hit the 0-degree mark on Tuesday, while Uttar Pradesh capital Lucknow shivered at 0.7 degrees Celsius as the cold wave tightened its grip on the state, the Met Department said. Bahraich recorded 0.2 degrees Celsius. The Meteorological Department forecast that rain or thunder showers are very likely at isolated places in the state. Now, Rajasthan continued to reel under cold wave conditions on Tuesday, even as there was a marginal increase in night temperature in the state. Sikar remained the coldest place in the state, recording a minimum temperature of 1 degree Celsius on Tuesday. All right, we're getting visuals from Brazil, where New Year is being celebrated as we speak. Let's take a look at these visuals coming in from Brazil this moment. Just to bring our viewers up to speed with the latest news here on The Breakfast Show. These are live visuals coming to you. We've been bringing you visuals from all around the world of the New Year celebrations taking place across the world from the east to the west. And these are live visuals coming to you now as we speak from the South American country of Brazil, where fireworks displays Naravane is paying tributes at the National War Memorial. Remember, he is the 28th Army Chief and he succeeded General Bipin Rawat yesterday. All right, just to bring our viewers up to speed with the latest news we are tracking here on the Breakfast Show, the new chief of the Indian Army, General Manoj Narawane, is paying tributes to martyrs at the National War Memorial in New Delhi. As we speak, there's a live visuals coming to you from the national capital. Remember, General Narawane took over as the new chief of army staff yesterday, succeeding General Bipin Rawat, who will take over as the new chief of defense staff later today. And just by way of additional information, Narawane is the 28th chief of the Indian Army, and he served in numerous assignments in Jammu and Kashmir and the Northeast. Here he is paying tributes at the National War Memorial in New Delhi. Right, you were watching the live visuals of General Manoj Mukund Narawane, the new Chief of Army Staff, paying tributes at the National War Memorial in New Delhi. Right, let's go back to the story we're tracking here on the Breakfast Show. That's to do with the cold wave conditions across much of northern India. And my colleague Abhishek Jha now joins us for more on this developing story. Abhishek, there was less fog than yesterday in New Delhi. And what are the situation like as far as flight connections are concerned and railway services?
Ramesh, fog was little less than yesterday. Even the sun has come up in the sky. It's likely to be a mildly sunny day, but there are still predictions of cloud that will be hovering around Delhi. The another situation we have faced that in railway department, almost 29 trains have been delayed in northwestern region. At Delhi station, we are not seeing many train delays, but few trains like Rajdhani coming from Patna or Mahabodhi coming from Bihar, Sampurna Kranti coming from Bihar. These trains have been delayed by 2 to 4 hours. That might be due to fogs during the course of their journey. We are also not facing too many delays or diversion in flights from Indira Gandhi Airport, international airports or any other ports. So far, there has not been major reports of any flight delays or diversion due to fog regions. Situation is very much pretty much under control. The one thing that has become little worrisome is the hanging smog or hanging pollution particles in Delhi. A while ago, even the Major Dhyan Chand Stadium, which is in the heart of Delhi, has recorded AQI level of almost 500, which is another hazardous category. And as we know, today is New Year's Day. People are going to come out in large numbers to public places, to other areas to relax and to celebrate the New Year. But this time is advisable not to come out in the open, because the pollution level is pretty much high, and it's going to stay there for some more time, because the wind speed has slowed down very much comparatively to what it was yesterday. Yesterday it was 15 kilometers per hour almost, but today it has reduced to 5 to 6 kilometers per hour. So the wind speed has reduced, and the smog is going to stay. The pollution particles are going to stay. So people should take proper precaution while coming out to have any celebration on the occasion of New Year's. The situation of railway is quite under control. Don't have much reports of any major divergence from airports. The fog conditions remain mildly under control.
All right, on that note, Abhishek Jha in New Delhi, thank you so much for that update. Appreciate it. Right, moving on, US President Donald Trump threatened Iran on Tuesday, warning the country's leaders that they will be held responsible for any death or destruction after protesters attacked the US embassy in neighboring Iraq. In a tweet, Trump said, and I quote here, Iran will be held responsible for lives lost or damage incurred at any of our facilities. They will pay a very big price. This is not a warning, it is a threat, unquote.
US President Donald Trump has warned Iran after Iraqi protesters stormed the US embassy in Baghdad. Trump in a tweet said Iran will be held accountable for lives lost in attacks on any US facilities. He tweeted on New Year's Eve that Iran will pay a very big price. The tweet further said this is not a warning, it is a threat. The American compound was attacked by a crowd of angry demonstrators furious over the deaths of militia members killed by US airstrikes. The angry crowd set a guard post in the street on fire and breached a reception area in the compound, forcing US troops to fire tear gas on protesters. There were no reports of casualties, but the unprecedented breach was one of the worst attacks on the embassy in recent memory. Tuesday's protest took place after funerals were held in Baghdad for the militia fighters killed in the US strikes. At least 25 fighters died in the US bombing of their bases on Sunday, which Washington said was a retaliation for the death of an American civilian worker killed during a rocket attack on an Iraqi military base. Iran has meanwhile denied it was behind violent protests at the US embassy in Iraq. Tehran has condemned Washington for blaming Iran for anti-US demonstrations in Baghdad. Iran's foreign ministry spokesman Abbas Mousavi in a statement warned against any reckless and wrong reaction as he advised the White House to reconsider its destructive policies in the region. Meanwhile, the United States is sending more troops to the Middle East immediately. Defense Secretary Mark Esper in a statement said that this deployment is an appropriate and precautionary action taken in response to increased threat levels against US personnel and facilities. Additional forces from the Immediate Response Force of the 82nd Airborne Division are also prepared to deploy over the next several days. A number of US Marines from Kuwait had already arrived at the Baghdad embassy to bolster security. There are already 5,000 US troops in Iraq, there to train and support Iraqi security forces in the fight against Islamic State. Bureau Report, DD India.
And in more international news, Fire Ravage Australia has launched a major operation to reach thousands of people stranded in seaside towns. 3 people lost their lives and 5 others were missing, while at least 2 schools and dozens of homes were feared destroyed after the country's southeast was devastated by deadly bushfires. Navy ships and military aircraft were deployed alongside emergency crews to provide humanitarian relief and assess the damage. The unprecedented crisis has sparked street protests calling on the government to immediately act on climate change, which scientists say is creating a longer and more intense bushfire season. Conservative Prime Minister Scott Morrison has come under increasing pressure for his response, which has included holidaying in Hawaii as the disaster unfolded and reiterating his steadfast support for Australia's lucrative coal mining industry. Now to news from Northeast Asia, where North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on Wednesday said his country will continue developing nuclear programs and introduce a new strategic weapon in the near future. This after the US missed a year-end deadline for restarting nuclear talks. The Reuters news agency reported that Kim convened a rare 4-day meeting of the ruling Workers' Party's policy-making committee since Saturday. Kim told the committee that North Korea would further develop North Korea's nuclear deterrent, but left the door open for dialogue, saying that the scope and depth of that deterrent will be properly coordinated depending on the attitude of the United States. Right, coming back to news from India now, keeping in mind that a major part of the country's population is without any insurance cover, the government launched a life insurance scheme known as the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. Under the scheme, risk cover of 2 lakh rupees is provided to a person having an account in a nationalized bank at a nominal annual premium of just 12 rupees. Now, people of Madhya Pradesh's Bhind are also finding this scheme very useful. Let's take a look at this ground report to see the impact of this scheme in Madhya Pradesh's Bhind.
Munna Lal Rathore was a resident of Mehgaon in Bhind, Madhya Pradesh. A labourer by profession, he lost his life in an unfortunate road accident. Being the sole earner of the family, his death left his family in a tough financial situation. Thankfully, Munna had got himself enrolled under the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, an insurance scheme run by the government. Under this scheme, his family got a sum of rupees 2 lakhs upon his death, which came as a great support for them. His family says that after Munna's death, they had fallen on real hard times, and it was only because of this scheme that they could get their lives back on track.
पिताजी रोड क्रॉस कर रहे थे, उसमें एक्सीडेंट हो गया था तो उनकी मृत्यु हो गई। अकेले कमाने वाले थे, उनका स्टेट बैंक का बीमा था उनका जो 12 रुपए वाला, उससे उनका 2 लाख रुपए मिला था। तो भाई के लिए दुकान खुलवा दी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक की, अब उसी से गुजारा कर रहे हैं।
उनका खाता था बैंक में 12 रुपए का प्रधानमंत्री वाला जीवन ज्योति योजना, उसके 2 लाख रुपए मिली थी। तो स्थिति अच्छी हो गई, मतलब दुकान खोल ली, वैसे तो कुछ था ही नहीं।
In Bhind, till now, more than 25,000 people have got themselves registered under the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana at the Mehgaon branch of the State Bank of India. Launched with the aim to ensure that even the poor can avail benefits of life insurance.
Right, I'm told we're getting visuals, live visuals at that, from New Delhi, where the new Chief of Army Staff, General Manoj Mukund Narawane, is being given the Guard of Honor at South Block. Let's take a look at these visuals coming to you from South Block in New Delhi, where the new Chief of Army Staff, General Manoj Mukund Narawane, will be given a Guard of Honor. Remember, he took charge yesterday as the 28th Army Chief, and he succeeds General Bipin Rawat, who has since been appointed as the country's first ever Chief of Defence Staff. Let's take a look at these visuals coming to you from New Delhi.
खींच लेना इतने में से। कोई नहीं, उनको जरूरत हम दूसरा खींच लेंगे। हो गया सर? हाँ ये
बैठ जाओ स्टील से बैठ जाओ स्टील बैठ जाओ भैया बैठो आप भी
All right, just to bring our viewers up to speed with the latest news coming in from Delhi at this point of time, we are standing by for a press conference and a statement from the new Chief of the Indian Army, General Manoj Mukund Narawane, who has just been given a ceremonial guard of honor at South Block. And we are standing by, as I said, for his statement to media present outside South Block. Let's take a look at his visuals coming to you live from New Delhi. Remember, General Manoj Mukund Narawane took over as the 28th Chief of the Indian Army yesterday, succeeding General Bipin Rawat, who has since been appointed as the country's first ever Chief of Defence Staff. And here he is, the new Army Chief, posing for a photograph along with his fellow officers outside South Block, the Ministry of Defence headquarters in New Delhi. As I said, we are standing by for an impromptu press conference and media statement from the new Chief of the Indian Army, General Manoj Mukund Narawane.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
And as we take a look at these live visuals from New Delhi, a word about General Narawane. He has served in many appointments in the Northeast and Jammu and Kashmir, and he takes over as the 28th Chief of the Indian Army. And there we are standing by for a media statement from the new Chief of the Indian Army, General Manoj Mukund Narawane, to happen very shortly outside the Ministry of Defence headquarters in New Delhi. And as we watch these visuals, just to remind our viewers that General Narawane spoke exclusively to DD News yesterday, and he spoke about Pakistan-sponsored terror, and now Indian Army is capable of thwarting all such attempts by India's adversaries. Let's listen to the media conference.
And you have a long time, over 2 years ahead. What are the things that you're looking at? What are the areas that you will be most concerned with, at least initially?
Well, before that, today is 1st January 2020 और नए साल के इस शुभ अवसर पर आप सबको, आपके सबके परिवारों को और पूरे भारतवासियों को मेरे तरफ से और पूरे भारतीय सेना के तरफ से शुभकामनाएं। आप सबने इस कड़ाके की सर्दी में यहाँ आने का कष्ट किया है, उसके लिए मैं आभारी हूँ। आज सेना का चीफ ऑफ द आर्मी स्टाफ पद संभालने पर मुझे बड़ा गर्व है, लेकिन इसके साथ साथ ये कितनी बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है वो उसका भी मुझे एहसास है। और मैं वाहिगुरु जी से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि वो मुझे इस जिम्मेदारी को निभाने के लिए शक्ति, साहस और बुद्धिमत्ता दे। आज एक नए साल की ही नहीं बल्कि एक नई दशक की भी शुरुआत है और मुझे पूरा भरोसा है कि इस नए दशक में हमारा देश बड़ी उन्नति और तरक्की करेगा। लेकिन ये तरक्की तभी हो पाएगी जब हमारी सरहद सुरक्षित होंगे। जब हमारी सरहदें सुरक्षित होंगे, महफूज होंगे, तभी हम अपना कामकाज कर पाएंगे और तभी देश में प्रगति होगी। मैं अपने देशवासियों को ये आश्वासन देना चाहता हूँ कि तीनों सशस्त्र सेनाएं, आर्मी, नेवी और एयरफोर्स पूरी तरीके से तैयार हैं और अपने देश को सुरक्षित रखेंगे और इसके दामन पर कोई आंच नहीं आने देंगे। थल सेना के जवान सरहद पर तैनात, तैयार और चौकन्ना है 24/7/52। आने वाले समय भी, भविष्य में भी हम आने वाले चुनौतियों का तैयारी करते रहेंगे। हमारी थल सेना युद्ध अनुभवी है और भविष्य में भी किसी भी खतरे को टालने के लिए सक्षम है। एक बार फिर आप सबको और पूरे थल सेना के अफसर, जेसीओज, एनसीओज और बहादुर जवानों को मेरे तरफ से नए साल के शुभकामनाएं। थैंक यू।
सेना के सामने
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. You have some time before. What are your priorities? What are the major issues you are going to look at now that you've taken over as chief and you will concentrate on immediately?
Our priorities will always remain to be ever ready to meet any challenge and to be operationally prepared at all times. This will happen as a result of modernization. We will continue to build up our capabilities, especially in the north and northeastern regions of our country. We will also pay emphasis on raising the security awareness amongst our rank and file, as also pay special attention to the issue of human rights.
Is there any gap that you would want to critique, which you think is a critical point and you want to bring up as a
सर मेरा सवाल है कि सेना के सामने कौन सी चुनौतियां देखते हैं, क्योंकि अब बात सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक से कहीं ज़्यादा आगे जीओपी हासिल करने की हो रही है, सरकार बार बार कह रही है, कैसे देखते हैं सेना उसके लिए कितना तैयार है?
हम जो भी थ्रेट्स है इसके ऊपर हमेशा हम गौर करते रहते हैं। ये एक कंटिन्यूअस प्रोसेस है जहाँ पर हम क्या भविष्य में चुनौतियाँ होने वाली हैं इसके ऊपर गौर करते हैं और उसके साथ कैसे निपटना है उसके लिए हमेशा हमारी प्लानिंग रहती है। As I just mentioned, modernization is going to be one of our key and priority areas. When we are planning on this process, we have a long-term perspective plan based on which we plan our acquisitions. This perspective plan is itself based on analysis of likely threats, and these threats keep changing, and as per the changing threat perception, we also change or modify our acquisition plans.
What's your big concern as far as our borders with China are concerned? And you've spoken about, reprioritizing and focusing a bit there instead of Pakistan. Could you just put that in perspective, sir?
We have land borders to our north with two major countries, the western borders and the northern borders. Both are equally important. While we have been giving attention in the past to our western front, the northern front also now requires equal amount of attention. And it is in that context that we are now going in for capability development and enhancement of our capacities
even in our northern borders, which includes the northeastern parts of our country.
So why do you say it's a worry in a border? Our borders with China. What is the?
We have the line of actual control with China. The border question is yet to be settled. However, we have made a lot of progress in maintaining peace and tranquility along the borders, and I'm sure that that situation will prevail, and that by maintaining peace and tranquility on the borders, we will be able to set the stage for an eventual solution. Thank you. We'll continue in the press conference later on. Thank you.
All right, that's a wrap on the Breakfast Show, but news continues here. You can catch all the latest updates on our social media, mobile and digital platforms. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye and have a great day. And he's wishing all of the viewers in India and around the world a very happy New Year.